putting together the right framework for your brand, which I know you're super passionate about. Number 1, brand messaging. Number 2, positioning. Number 3, language. And number 4, visuals. So if you could go deep into what that means, how that all works, the importance of it.
For the brand messaging, I like to really take a step back and really oversimplify the brand before you start building it up. And that starts with the why and the mission of the organization, and develop everything from that mission. If you don't have a strong mission and your leadership is not actually executing and living and breathing that mission on a day-to-day basis, it doesn't matter how pretty your marketing is and how well the messaging is. The referral basis and your student body and alumni will soon resent or not want to be associated with the brand. And so giving that brand experience that is really valuable to the student and the graduates is where the marketing really needs to start, the why. And then for positioning it, you of course want to take a look at your competitors, be mindful that you're not copying what they're doing, but be inspired from them and see how they're doing things and how you might want to do it differently so it's appropriate for your organization. Taking a look at the brand pillars, something in the emotional space, the functional space, and the experiential space is kind of where I like to look to find that middle sweet spot. When you combine all three, your brand in the center of those three things is kind of your brand essence and should align back to the why and the mission. And the language is really important. Depending if you're talking to beauty enthusiasts versus medical doctors or people who are going into business school, they definitely have a different way they speak to each other, a different cadence in language, and different word choices. It would be very strange to be using words like thus far and some more formal language when you're in the beauty space. That's just not how people speak. While you want to be approachable, you wouldn't want to be overly friendly in the way you communicate to business or doctorate level programs. So the language is really, really important to make sure you embody a persona and a messaging strategy that aligns with the target and who they are in the beginning and who they evolve to be when they graduate. And then for the visual identity system, when you're putting together the framework for the brand, I like to start to see what has been the heritage and build from there. And when I look at brands that I like to emulate outside of the space, I think of the McDonald's and the Disneys and the Amazons of the world, where they have really strong color associations and visual identity systems, where if you see just one part, you would quickly associate the rest. That's kind of what I like to do when I look at the brand, is making sure, are we using colors consistently? When I look at a piece of material, if the primary color is blue, but it's only showing up less than 10% on the page, there's going to be a disconnect in that ad. And so, as an example, you would never see the McDonald's arches in anything other than gold, but you see the golden arches and you know it's McDonald's. You see the smile, you know it's Amazon. And to have those visual identity systems is really imperative to the brand. One thing that you did not mention that's just coming top of mind is also the auditory of a brand. You're seeing more and more different brands linking to a chime, a noise, a little type of event. And NFL is a great example of one that does that. You always know it's Sunday Night Football when you hear that NFL chime. So auditory is also really important to consider. You don't want to have different background music with every single ad set.
One of the areas of improvements that I think universities or trade schools, even e-learning platforms could further develop is how they're analyzing the data and how they're utilizing data to make smart decisions. So, for example, knowing what key drivers of enrollment are, what metrics are actually meaningful and drive the business forward.
But there's a lot of higher up metrics, just understanding what is your audience, how many prospects are coming into the school. But when you take a look at your prospect pool and see how many are actually raising their hand and starting an application and then moving through that admissions process is really important. So you know what to look for moving forward in terms of process improvements, messaging, or the change in how you are spending your money. I think a lot of schools really chase after vanity metrics. And what I mean there is they're looking at site traffic and not asking, is it the right traffic? More is not always more if it's not the right audience. And they might be looking at just gross inquiries and not realizing that many are duplicates and not looking at the net numbers. And if you have 100 prospects coming in from one channel and you're able to successfully make contact with 70 of those, half of those start an application, 25 of those move through the application process and become accepted. And I've seen schools where it's half start or 85% start, and whatever that looks like to you, all of that middle math for that channel still needs to be backed into how much did you spend on the channel and what other points in the process were they influenced by untrackable media spend.
Thank you for tuning into the Education Marketing Insider by Grow Enrollments. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel to stay updated. Stay tuned.